Hi guys, HyDra again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The biggest drama in the CDL right now going into Black Ops 6 is exactly what the map set is going to look like. Many of the players in the league not so happy with what Trek have cooked up this time around. Dashy, Shotzzy, Simp all wading in with their discussion saying, yeah, this map set is cooked as it stands. We need serious changes if we want to have a decent year for competitive play. What can Trek do about it? What maps actually will be played in competitive play? Because right now it is relatively slim pickings. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Thought it was cool that Miracles here back to the timeline with an absolute banger tweet that blew up all over social media last night. Noisy though as well. A big update yesterday on the Challenger side. A player that's been around competing for several years in the Challenger scene. He was actually especially good a couple of years ago. I think it was Vanguard. He had a really promising season in Challengers and it never quite paid off for getting a league spot. And there's just so many individuals that find themselves in this position where they've grinded Challengers for years. Getting their promotion to the CDL hasn't happened now, probably isn't going to happen, and it just doesn't make financial sense to continue. The only way it works, if you're a guy like Donny Temp, for example, is go to college, maybe play college COD there. That's an option as well. But Noisy's decided to call it a day, wishing the best for him going forwards. This was Clay, by the way, grinding the game so hard. This is kind of how you can tell maybe, you know, old man Clay or whatever. Of course, he's officially now retired from competitive play, had his thumb swollen, he had to get this particular angle to show it the best. And, you know, Clay's saying he's icing it and treating it for the night under intensive care right now, and he's going to be back in business, of course, for tomorrow. There was also this spotted. So Snoopy on his Twitch, he now goes by Snoop. So well, okay, I wonder if there's anything in this, or whether Snoopy's trying to change his gamer tag, right? Because Scrappy is technically Scrap. In the early days, Scrappy went by Scrappy, and then, you know, probably Scrappy doesn't like it that much. So he went for Scrap instead, and when you know, watch CDL games, it's Scrap on the scoreboard. So he went for Scrap instead, and when you watch CDL matches, it's Scrap on the scoreboard. And people call him Scrap, sure, but, you know, still a lot of people call him Scrappy, and probably in every single video title that I've ever done, he's still known as Scrappy, and people generally call him that, because, I don't know, it just fits better, do you not think? So Snoopy, again, it's like classic COD names, isn't it? Dashy, Shotzzy, HyDra, like, you know how it goes. And Snoopy is another one. Maybe he's going to run it to Snoop, though, instead. But are people going to call him Snoop? I don't really think so, personally. That, you know, that name belongs to somebody else, as you guys are fully aware. There was a little bit of drama as well. Well, I'll share the clip in a second between Formal and Nature. Of course, we know that these guys were potentially going to be on the same organization, right? Formal had an offer, we think, from Nature to go and join Los Angeles Thieves. Though at that time, Formal, of course, was committed to the Halo future, even though Formal probably thought that a potential where he leaves Halo and comes to COD was an option after the World Championship this year. As it's turned out, Formal is likely trying to form the God Squad in Halo for next season and will continue playing that title and isn't going to come to COD. But we believe that, you know, the option was potentially there for Formal if he wanted to make the call to come to Nadeshot's Call of Duty team in the Los Angeles Thieves. But in the end, well, by the time Formal maybe was going to respond, of course he probably never was, they had formed their new roster, which obviously worked out to be rather good. At least they very much should be on paper for the upcoming season, right? So Formal was looking for some 4v4s with Pred, Kaysan there playing a tournament last night. But also, Scrappy was giving his perspective on the auto pistol and some other things. We know that GAs will start to come into effect. As it stands, there is no official ban list from the CDL. That will probably arrive in the next couple of weeks. The pros are going to figure out what they want to use, what they don't want to use, whether a certain weapon is maybe slightly too strong, and whether changes need to be made. So GAs are starting to come in, but also what's the GAs going to be in terms of the map set, right? Because this is where we find ourselves with a serious discussion on what the map pool is looking like. And as, well, Intel CDL say yesterday, described the current Black Ops 6 map pool with one word. This is Protocol. Here we are on Babylon. This, of course, being Skyline, and then you've got Vault. So, look, Skyline, Vault, Protocol, maps that can and likely will be played in competitive, but still not, you know, sensational maps as far as I'm concerned. And if you look at the replies, wise, it's probably not especially pretty. So, you know, I guess we can just scroll through real quick and we can see some interesting answers. Yeah, we're probably not going to play Babylon. Absolute trash. I mean, you know, this guy's gone for 2 words because he simply can't limit himself to just a 1-word response here. So, yeah, we're seeing multiple answers kind of similar to this. Dragonboy said that's pretty good, so I'm not going to lie. If you guys know that meme, you know what I'm talking about. So I wanted to share a couple of clips here from Simp and also from Dashy and Shotzzy just discussing the map set as it stands. And, well, Simp has a pretty bad take, and he's saying, look, this is similar to Al-Bagra Fortress, of course, that map from Modern Warfare 2, that was, well, arguably an absolute shamble.
Every map we just played was so just one-dimensional. But it's also, bro, it's just day 1 cheese. Like, it's hard to judge anything. Playing it twice. I feel like every map is how, like, Al-Bagra Fortress played.
Oh, we have no maps this year, bro.
We actually have none.
Actually,
like, it's kind of crazy. Like, usually we could work with, like, 4, 3.
What happened to Treyarch, bro? They're just worried about Warzone, bro?
Not gonna lie, we might have to be a 3-map fucking rotation.
Yeah, like
I'm
what,
losing
Volt,
full playing a new map every time.
Yeah, Volt, Skyline, and fucking Protocol. These maps are kind of dog shit, dude. What happened to my goats? The game's good, though, but the maps are fucking horrible. They just need to add some of the BO4 maps. Like, if they add Arsenal Frequency, I swear to God, like, it's 2 maps that are godlike already. All 3 game modes. Yeah, that's what they gotta do. Add some Bops 4 maps, too.
So this was Al-Bagra Fortress. It was a most well known, really, for being the absolute spawn trap demon map in control when, you know, good luck winning an offense effectively was the strategy here. To be fair, though, for Hardpoint and for Search, didn't play that bad, but I kind of get what Simp means, that this kind of map design, Infinity Ward, of course, is not too dissimilar to what a lot, like Volt, for example, definitely has some parallels on the way the map is designed to a map like Al-Bagra Fortress. So, yeah, tweet your thoughts on that, and as the OpTic boys say, is it not time to bring back some Black Ops 4 maps? I will say as well, the game this year, yes, it's a Treyarch game, but in my opinion, because it's been built on the engine that Infinity Ward had developed over the last couple of years, yes, of course, it has Treyarch's touches and it has Treyarch's Omni movements, but the game doesn't feel to me like a Treyarch game in the same way that it has in the past. It doesn't feel like Cold War at all. It doesn't feel like, I mean, maybe there's a bit of Black Ops 4 in there somewhere, but it's not Treyarchy to my eye. But intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. It's obviously more Treyarchy than other games. But yeah, I think this perspective of what happened to Treyarch is maybe a fair argument, right? It doesn't quite feel like it used to. Maybe I'm just getting old. I think I'm getting old. That is part of it. But, you know, these maps are terrible. They've got to bring back some Black Ops 4 maps. And it's fair point, right? I mean, you look at Black Ops 4, maps like Frequency, Arsenal, among others. Hacienda, of course, is rumored to be returning. But, you know, there are a few maps in Black Ops 4 that they could very much consider bringing back into the game. I love the Black Ops 4 map set, and it was designed for, obviously not necessarily designed for 5v5 competitive, but that of course was the plan. That year they had 5v5 in pubs, 5v5 in competitive as well. The map played well for both, although often very fast paced in the hands of the competitive players. But yeah, what about those maps, bringing them back? I mean, like, what we've done with the map set this year just isn't really hitting, and you know, people have said some of these maps are the best ones and they're not even that good, and that is a fair point. People are like, oh, Subsonic is actually really good, or maybe they really like, you know, Red Card or something, and I'm like, well, you know, fair enough, but equally those aren't even, in the grand scheme of COD history, not even good maps. And this is where we find ourselves here with Skyline, Lowtown. I mean, Lowtown just is, when I saw it first, I thought, okay, this might be good. I just don't think it's very good, but we might need to play it. I think that is where we find ourselves now, is that, like, how many competitive maps here do we really have? Derelict can potentially work for Search and Destroy. I think that might be, you know, and I kind of get it. So maybe I see that happening. Babylon, of course, no way. Vorkuta, I think there's just no way. Volt is playable. None of these maps in the middle here are playable. And then you've got the top line. Payback is thankfully a bit better than I thought it would be. I thought the map was going to be like absolutely tiny and completely unplayable. But it actually does seem to be viable, Payback. Potentially for all of the game modes. We'll see on that. I know that many people are saying that might be their favorite map right now. And I totally get it. So, and Protocol is like, I wish it was better because it looks like it could be good. when you look at it from like the above perspective, but some of the windows and the angles, I don't know, not a big fan. Skyline I'm still pretty happy with. Lowtown isn't great, but it's just pretty slim pickings here. And of course the maps at the bottom are the 2v2 maps really, so they're not playable in competitive play either. And as Ronnie says, this might be, or this is, as far as he's concerned, the worst map set in COD history. Might as well just drop Raid right this second. And I feel like that might be what is necessary, right? If Trek came along tomorrow and said, all right guys, you know, you win, we didn't do a great job with the maps this year, here's Raid, here's Standoff, here's whatever, here's Arsenal, Frequency, Hacienda, among other examples, Gridlock even I was a big fan of from back in Black Ops 4, bring some of the maps like that back, would be in a much better position. But right now we are scrambling to find a realistic map set. And yeah, in hardpoint, I mean, I think you are looking at Protocol, Payback, Skyline, and then, you know, probably Vault. I think that's your 4. And then if you've got to find a 5th for maybe the respawns, you've got to say Lowtown. And then maybe for Search and Destroy, you can throw in Derelict. But I feel like Vault and, you know, Skyline and Payback and Protocol, they probably can be played for multiple game modes. It just might not be optimal. The other maps are chalked. I mean, like loads of these maps, there's no point going anywhere near them, to be honest, for competitive play. So the pros are going to find something that works. It is what it is. As you guys can see here, for example, I do like what Trek have done on this one, by the way, when if you throw a nade, it becomes circular. It actually makes quite a lot of sense. Gives you some idea, of course, by the concentric circles getting closer together, how close it's going to be to exploding. Scrap, of course, cooks it perfectly here for the first frag kill, and then Envoy does exactly the same thing on the other guy as well. So Scrap and Envoy, of course, playing some early chows, and you know, I do like this feature in Trek, and I think this Derelict map is a great map for a 2v2 Search and Destroy game, like a chal or whatever. For 4v4 Search and Destroy, I don't know. But I think that it might have to be in the conversation, to be honest, which is kind of sad. But I think that is legitimately where we are right now. So very much interested to your thoughts as ever in the comment section below. What do you guys think on the map set? What would you do to fix it? And actually, what maps would you play if you were designing the rule set for the league on the upcoming season? Just one interesting thing before we call it a day on the videos. Brian Stats says the following: with Clayster retiring, the winningest active players are Simp and aBeZy, which is kind of, I wouldn't say surprising, but it is nonetheless interesting, right? Those guys haven't really been around that long, but yet 11 major championships is, you know, the most winning active players. Of course, Kremp 38 before he retired. So the winningest active players were as follows. Big Timer, the original GOAT, he had that kind of accolade all through 2009 to when he retired in 2014. When he called it a day, then it became aches. Then Crim6 took over until he retired in 2022. Scump then had the accolade in 2023. After Scump retired, it went to Clay. And the numbers, I mean, like when Krim retired, it was 38. When Scump retired, he had like 30, 31, 32 championships, something like that. Clay had about 20, and now we're down to 11. So, yeah, it's fallen off pretty big time, right? But of course, there aren't so many events nowadays compared to what there have been previously. Kenny and others aren't far away either. Kenny could take over the sole number this year. That's not out of the realms of possibility either. But very much interested to your thoughts as ever on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
I'll go to my following list, right? Like who I follow on Twitch. You know, some of my boys, you know, people like Formal, Scump, Mason. And then I'll go type in their chat just like looking for attention. Like a child, really. Just like, hey, let me say something in here and hopefully they say something nice to me or something. This guy, Formal, cut me so deep, brother. He said, it's so bizarre that you're like 30 years old trying to flirt with me like a school kid. You just like tried to push me off the swing. I'm like, yo, I thought we had a nice thing. And then he just went with daggers. Like he came at me with fucking daggers for no reason. Isn't he 30? Bro, that's what I thought. That's what I'm thinking. I got a news flash for you. Join me, brother. You're gonna be joining me here any day now. I'm sorry that I just came for a little bit of attention, just a tiny bit. And that man had to slap me back down to reality.